Hey everyone, Livy here, back with another video. This time, I'm so excited to talk about Seasons of the Witch Mabon Oracle. I think it's either Mabon or Mabon. I'm not always great with pronunciation, so please someone correct me. But this is Seasons of the Witch by Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz, and it's now illustrated by Tihana Lokovic, I think is how you pronounce it. If, again, that's wrong, someone correct me on pronunciation. But I'm very excited for this deck. For those who do not know, the Seasons of the Witch is, well, it's very popular. There are a few other decks, I believe, already in this collection. There's one for, I know there's a Beltane, Samhain, there's another one, but that used to be by a different artist. They've changed their artist since then. And to be honest, this is going to sound really bad. To be honest, I love this artist more. The reason why, until this point, I never had a Seasons of the Witch deck is because I did not like at all the art from the other artists. So that's so mean to say, but it's just true. This is a rock pool deck. It goes for $24.95 in the US and $18.99 in the UK. Not sure what it goes for in Canada, but I'm pretty sure it will be released there also. So keep an eye out for that. I guess if you shop at Indigo, I pre-ordered mine through Barnes & Noble, but I know it's on Amazon as well and some other places. So anyways, let's get into the cards. It comes in a box. This is the same box as the Green Witch Oracle I have. Looks like that's on the inside. And the reason why I got this one, besides the artist, is also just because of the time of year it discusses. This is honestly my favorite season. I just love the colors. I love the feeling. I love the vibes. It's very magical and whimsical for me, and I think this deck is going to be so great and relevant, especially during that time of year, but even not during that time of year, if that makes sense. This booklet, too, before we get into the cards, is so good. It's colored inside. Very big guidebook. It has an intro. It tells you about the themes. This is also why I picked this deck, by the way, because the other decks didn't seem to resonate with me in terms of what I care about, I guess, when it comes to my practice. But I really like the themes of Mabon or Mabon, which is about agriculture. Wow, I can't even talk today. Ancestral healing, balance and transitions, concentration, endings and mourning, goals and accomplishments, gratitude, grounding, healing and self-care, planning and preparation, sharing and wisdom. A lot of things that are just, relevant to me in my practice, which is why I wanted this over some others. It tells you also how to use the cards, because each card has like keywords, mini messages that are in the bottom of the cards, which I'll show. Using the cards beyond the season, so it tells you more, which is probably going to be most relevant for me. Daily guidance cards. And this is what's cool. This deck has a lot of really interesting spreads. There's an interview spread, which I might try, not in this video, but I'll try to do this on my own time. They talk about 2-card spreads, 3-card spreads with this deck, and an apple of my eye cross, so it's kind of a variation on the Celtic cross, but it just uses the oracle, which I find really interesting. There's also a falling leaves spread, darkness, fall spread, molasses spread, elderberry spread, and maple tree. So as you can see, plenty of spreads. If you're someone who likes to really experiment with your oracles, you will like that. And then, of course, it launches into the cards. Now, the cards are in alphabetical order. They're even written like this on the actual cards, right? You see the name, the number, and it gives you a little message. And there's some keywords. And as you can see, each card kind of has quite a bit of information, right? Not all of them equally, it looks like. But it at least has a couple of pages, which is pretty good. Especially because there's only, I believe it's like 44. 44, yeah. There's 44 cards. There you go. So pretty good. Pretty good. So that's the booklet. As you can see, very chunky, very good. But then let's get into the cards themselves. I have previewed this on my own time, but I do still want to give my first impressions because I'm still like processing a lot of it. Right off the bat, it is that shiny high gloss that I'm not really a fan of. It feels matte enough where it doesn't completely feel like I'm touching a photograph, but I'm still not a fan of high gloss personally, so that also impacts if I would get a lot more of these decks in the future. It does have this really cool shiny orange gilding though, but I will say the gilding looks kind of cheap because as you can see, it's already like chipping. I've only like glanced through these cards and it's already chipping a little bit here. So, oh, and right here, there we go, focused a little bit. It's more obvious. So, yeah, cardstock, not great. Just being honest, it's not. And this deck also, as you can see, is very wide. So I have smaller hands. It's kind of harder to hold. It's probably standard Oracle, but I just don't care for the size. I'm going to be honest. See, I have to go like this, and it really just kind of hurts. But beyond that, it does, I will say this cardstock does have good bend though. So I guess if you're someone who likes to riffle shuffle, and have bigger hands, you'll probably have a good time with this. Otherwise, I don't see how you could. But anyways, we're going to get into the cards. Okay. This is card number 1, Apothecary Cabinet. Just for the sake of time, I don't think I will be reading all the messages unless there's one I really like. But first thoughts on this is just beautiful. So many, I love the art. I love the colors. And it really sets the tone, right? Or maybe I'll flip it this way so you guys can still see some of it, even though it's not everything. Okay. And let me adjust this slightly, by the way. Sorry about that. Moving this so they look more centered for you. Apple of my eye. This is so cool. Just the whole thing with this deck is so cool. Autumn Equinox. They are so beautiful. I'm sorry, I'm going to be saying that a lot. I feel like a lot of, oh, this is beautiful. This is magical. This is everything you could possibly think of, you know? Breath work. I did see this card a few times. I do really like this card, the cacao. I love that there's like an owl on this person's shoulder. And I even just love the message. It feels very homey and it makes a lot of sense. It says, you are loved, you are held, and you already are everything you seek. I'm not someone who likes a lot of, how do I explain this? I'm not someone who likes a lot of affirmation cards. But this one, I don't know why I really like this, especially because a lot of the other cards in this deck have very interesting word choices and talks about how do I explain this? It feels shadowy, but it also feels very balanced. So having this card here just makes a lot of sense. And I don't know, I just really like it. Campfire. Now, this card I also really, really like. Not just the images, but the message for Campfire. It says, do not fear opening your mouth and allowing your tongue to speak. This is something I need a lot because I struggle sometimes with telling people, not so much on here on Tarot too, but like in my day-to-day life, I struggle with like telling people how I really feel. So I really like this card. And this one too. This one is so practical. Not only just because they're just this cute, loving couple. You can see them in the background, right? The little photo frame. Not just because they're like this cute, loving couple, but I really like the message on the coming of darkness. It says, all the light is dimming. Life is withering at the core. Are you ready? Like, have you prepped enough for the coming season? Which is very relevant, right? Sometimes you have to, because you never know, right, when things will switch. So I really like that card as well. Corn Maze is number 8. Coven. Really cool Coven. I have to say, too, I really like what they've decided to do, what the artist has decided to do with the imagery. It seems very, how do I phrase this? It seems very diverse, which I like. I remember how the first two decks of this Oracle series, I remember them being not really diverse at all, so I also didn't care for that. And then they did the Beltane one, which I think did have more diversity, but I still didn't like the artist's artwork. So I think this hits like the right spot of like showing diverse people and bodies and things, while also just being, beautiful art. I don't know. This is one of the cards that they were showing off even for the input of this deck. I mean, not input, like the promotion of this deck. This is Cranberries. This is still a beautiful card, though. My goodness. Crow. It's very ominous, but I really like it. Now, this card, I'm not going to lie, she's kind of, that figure is kind of creepy. There's a couple cards I've previewed that I'm like, oh, Jesus. I don't know how I feel. But this is Darkness Falls. Now, this message, though, I feel is very relevant because, spoiler alert, if you don't already know, I do have issues with, like, depression, so I get this card. It's like, within you live the things that want nothing more than to swallow you whole. Like, yeah, that could be happening very often. You need to, like, be able to pick yourself back up, though, after that, which is hard, but, yeah. This is Elderberries. Falling Leaves. Again, this is the artwork on the box, but it's still very beautiful. Fawn. I love this one too, though. It says, "Be curious, dear child, and explore the world within worlds." So beautiful. Something so innocent. It's very much like, I don't know, this almost gives me like Page of Pentacles vibes for sure, or even Page of Sword kind of loosely. So I don't know, I really dig this. Fire Cider. Number 16. Very cool. Foraging. There is no better feeling than having gone after what you desire. Ghost Whisperer. Now, this is the one card. I understand that it's a grieving card. And even the key, the message at the bottom, the chambers of your mourning are surrounded by nothingness, emptiness, waiting to be seen. I don't mind that message. I don't know if I 100% like the artwork of this card. And I think it's just because we get the sidewards view of this person and just like the way that it's drawn, I don't know. It seems very different with the rest of the card. I think there could have been a better way that it was shown. It just feels very off, especially when you look at the rest, because this is the only card in this deck that is featured in this way with the side view and just has like a weird kind of expression on their face. So I don't know how effective this one is for me personally. Harvest Moon. Harvest Witch. I really like the outfit. This reminds me very much of like closely, not completely, but it looks a lot like Portuguese, like traditional folklorish clothing. So that's kind of really cool for me. Now, this card is very powerful. Number 22 is Haunted House. The things that haunt you are the things you have yet to let go of. So it's really asking you to think about, like, what do you really need to let go of, Like, what have you been holding up inside the haunted house of your heart, you know. Very powerful. And this card I'm just obsessed with because this is vibes. This is me. I love it. Kitchen witchery. Abundance flows easily and effortlessly into your life. Be in gratitude. This is so good. Everything about this is such a vibe. Like, this is everything I'm about. I don't know. I really like it. Maple tree. Mead and wine. This is very Dionysus of this card. But it's cool. Molasses. Mountain cabin. Peppers. I really like the scene of this. Again, it's more kitchen witchery that I really like. Like, this has a lot of interesting nods to it, which is why it's such a vibe, I guess. And this card, oh my god, 29 is pomegranate. I am obsessed with this card, and I don't know if it's because it's just giving me really like high priestess vibes, but it's also just because something weird about like this eye being in the hand really reminds me of you know, Guillermo del Toro and kind of like his style. So maybe that's why I dig this card so much. I don't know. And let me fix some of this so it's more straight. Okay, number 30 is pumpkin spice and apple cider. Another thing I will say, even though because I made a note of it, is these are diverse bodies and like coloring kind of, but I do notice that there's not so many cards that are like diverse in age. So if you're somebody who does care about that, I do think this deck does read a little younger. Maybe for those in the more like, I don't know, they look like they could be anywhere in their like either child to like 30s in age. There's definitely not like older than that. It gives off that impression for me. Now, she is so cool. She is a vibe. This is 31. This is Queen of the Dead. And it even says, fear not the rage of fire living within, for it is the power of your fierceness waiting to taste you fully. It is so cool. I don't know. This card is really serving. I really like it. And she, oh my god, I have to say, this card creeped me out. When I first opened it just to look, I was like, what the hell? Look at her creepy face. I guess that's the point, but I'm like, oh my god, that's the stuff of nightmares. Especially because like the keyword for Reaper is like for the birth of something new to manifest the death of something holding you back is inevitable. Like, why did she have to be so creepy? I don't know. Oh, God. Anyways, she is so cool, though. This image, especially like the owl, is just drawn so well. This is root vegetables. In those hidden places where most fear to go is where the most nourishment is waiting for you to behold. I really like this, too. This deck is my vibes. This is me. I just love it so much. Scarecrow. I like this too. Well, I like pretty much every card in this, except the ones I've said. This is shape-shifting. This one is such a cool card and cool message. So, shape-shifting, number 35, is transformation is not the loss of what once was. It is the evolution of a more powerful self. It is so cool. Like, I don't know, just even the look on her face, the mask, the things sprouting from her. It is, oh man, this is so cool. I really like the messaging of this one too. This is St. John's wort and marigold. Interesting too, because you know, if you know anything about like Latinx culture or even like specifically Mexican culture and how there's like Dias de los Muertos, you know, the marigold is a very prominent flower for that. It's about being close to the dead kind of thing. And you could even see on this person's hands, they're starting to turn, it almost looks like they're turning into tree branches, which is like, what? But the message on this is pretty good too. It says, against your will, there will not, or against your will, there will not be no entrance, no welcoming, be gone. Just so powerful. I don't know. Number 37, Straw Bale. She looks pretty fierce, though. I like it. And this card made me gasp. I love not only just the depictions, the things showing here, the crow, the moth, I guess, the way that the tea is being poured out, but even the message is so relevant because I do a lot of work. I drink a lot of tea, and I feel this process a lot. 38 is reach into your subconscious, pull from the source, and weave magic with intention, and the answers will unfold. Very good. This one, I love her look, but I just love this little toad with his monocle. It is hilarious. I love this card. The toad. This one is the one for people who do not like depictions of smoking at all. This is probably not a card you will like very much, so just be aware that it's in here. There is a tobacco card, which is an interesting choice. I don't know if it... I mean, I love the artwork being depicted, but I don't know if this 100% goes with the vibes of the season. It is kind of weird, but at the same time, I kind of like it. I don't know. I don't smoke, so is what it is. I was also interested to see that they had a whiskey card. Spirit Distillery is written on one of those barrels. Really interesting. Mouse 41. This card is just so cute. The gathering of all of them. I really like it. Witch's Gathering. This one's really good. Witch's Rosary. Also really cool. I love all the owls in here. This one must be the best one, though, because I can tell that's like a spotted owl, and those are like my faves. Just so cool. And the final card, Wool. Just a cozy, it's a very cozy scene in this card. Really like it. So good. Now that all the cards have been shown, I am finally going to try to at least do my overhand shuffling for this. I'm worried about how this is going to go because, again, the edging in this is not great, but I think it's pretty much the same as the Green Witch one I have from Rockpool that has the food. It works because it is a glossier cardstock. It just shines through. Like it goes by really quick. But I don't know. It's the size thing. You guys know I have small, I've mentioned it so many times. I have small hands. So I really hate that Oracle cards are so goddamn big. But other than that, I really like, I don't know, I'm really vibing with this deck. I think it's going to be really, really relevant in the fall. But I think I would end up probably using this even earlier than that. I don't know. Maybe I'll like pull one card a day and kind of sit with it. It kind of gives me those vibes because the cards are also so big. I know the deck has a lot of interesting spreads that I might use closer to the time of year. But I also just gives me those like feeling of just using it, like really sitting with a message every day. So I'm really excited for that. I'm going to wait to see when the deck actually comes out. I am tempted to get the Imbolc one because it is the same artist, but I don't really know what the vibes of that deck are supposed to be, like what time of year and what kind of themes. I think Imbolc is winter, so that makes sense, but Am I going to gel with it as much as this one? Because this is literally depicting my favorite season. I don't know. So we'll see. But this deck, I cannot sing the praises of this higher. The cardstock is, again, Rock Pool's kind of weird cardstock. Cardstock's not great, but the artwork is beautiful. The messages are great. And the guidebook, like, is so filled with information. So I think if you were considering this, and this is also, by the way, your favorite time of year, and you just want this, definitely go ahead and do this. Buy this deck. If you're somebody who's a completionist and you just want this whole series, you definitely cannot sleep on this deck. Okay, so that's my final thoughts there. But thank you all if you have been watching. I will see you all again next time. Bye.